Good afternoon once again. First of all, thank you very much for inviting me here for this event, and I would like to wish you all the best on your 5th anniversary. And now I will try to upload my presentation. I would like to say that after those really interesting speeches from my colleagues from the companies, I would like to present a little bit different perspective, a perspective of a large Central European university about PCT system and IP strategy. So I will share with you our experiences and typical strategy regarding patents. But of course, we all have to bear in mind that every institution has its own specifics, and so the different paths and different approaches to IP protection may be the most suitable for each of them. It's of course there are differences between the companies and research institutions such as universities. The main difference is that we don't produce anything; we just produce knowledge. So the incentives are a bit different. First, let me start with introducing briefly my institution. Jagiellonian University is the second largest university in Poland. It's the oldest one, and actually the second oldest in the Visegrad countries after Charles University in Prague. We are a really large institution. We've got almost 40,000 students. We've got over 7,000 staff members, including 4,000 of academic staff, so a lot of researchers. What is also worth noting is that we are one of the founding members of the Una Europa, which is a European University Alliance formed of 8 universities from European countries, such as, for example, Bologna University, Leuven, Sorbonne, or Jagiellonian University. And actually being part of this alliance is also important for us, and we already see the effects of this cooperation in this network, not only in the research results. I would like to mention also that we are the only Central European university in Reuters' top 100 Europe's most innovative universities, ranking which is really interesting because it's based on many indicators. For example, citations of scientific papers from the universities. In the patents of the companies. As you can imagine, we have a lot of researchers, and that's why a lot of research projects are being conducted each year. It's over 1,000 research projects in 2020, including over 100 international research projects. And many new research projects are launched each year. And what's also important, and we're glad about this, that 1/3 of the projects is led by young researchers. Our university has 16 faculties, that's also the difference between our institution and the companies that were showing their case studies, that we are not focused on one sector. That also it difficult to conduct the whole process of commercialization. Because if we think about leading research fields, it's medical sciences such as drug discovery, medical diagnostics, life sciences, including chemistry, biotechnology, earth sciences, new materials, but also science with physics, mathematics, IT, and a facility that we have at our university, National Radiation Center, Synchrotron Center, but also social sciences and humanities, which are very strong. So as you can see, we are not a technical university. We don't have any engineering faculties. And in fact, half of the faculties are social sciences and humanities faculties. So applying for patent is possible only for some of the research results that are received by our scientists. But of course, it doesn't mean that we underestimate social sciences and humanities. We try to make the research results from these fields also useful to the society and to the business, but mainly not using the patent protection. On this slide, you can see our patent activity actually from the beginning, because before 2007, there were no centralized regulation of IP policy at our university. And of course, some patent applications were filed, but the whole system was not in place. And actually, that's something what Mateusz Gajdosz was talking interestingly about in previous presentation. We had to put in place an IP-oriented culture in our institution. And we started it by developing IP policy, and then my unit, Center for Technology Transfer, CITTRU, became responsible for managing the whole commercialization process. So on this slide, you can clearly see that for the first couple of years from 2007, we started slowly to build portfolio of patent applications. Only some PCT applications began to be filed. It was usually possible using grant money from the Ministry of Science or EU grants. Next, in a couple of years, we started to increase the number of patent applications due to the fact that this culture of this IP culture and IP education that we conducted resulted in more scientists coming to us and disclosing the results. In the same time, the number of PCT applications also increased. But in the last 5 years, we began to change a bit our attitude. We began to be more, let's say, picky and not tending to patent internationally every invention that was disclosed to our office. And this is also due to the fact that now most of our IP budget comes from the university itself, because after a few years, our rectors made a pledge that whenever we will need a patent budget, then we will have it. And we wouldn't be dependent only on grants that we find. It's Also, in the last 5 years, we can also observe the rising number of granted patents, and that's of course the result of the patent applications from previous years. It is also worth noting that we are actually in 2020 we were leading Polish applicant to European Patent Office, including companies. And it of course makes us proud, but on the other hand, of course, it shows the relatively weak potential of the Polish industry. So I already mentioned my unit, the Center for Technology Transfer, CITTRU. We are responsible for all the interactions of university with surroundings. We manage contract research. We also promote academic entrepreneurship through incubation of startups coming from our university and education of entrepreneurship. We also support our scientists in establishing interdisciplinary consortia with industrial partners and assist them in IP issues in all those agreements. But last but not least, we coordinate the whole complex commercialization process. Now, quick 2 slides about this model of commercialization that we usually follow. So everything starts, of course, from the disclosure of research results to our unit. And then technology brokers employed at our unit perform initial market and patentability analysis to find out and to enable us to decide if the invention has a commercial potential, and if we should continue with this invention or not. Then, of course, we have to take care of the legal issues, all of this in accordance with our IP policy. So if it's a joint invention and it happens many times each year because of this international research cooperation with different universities. So if there is a need, we sign this agreement. We also sign agreements between inventors and Jagiellonian University, separate agreements, not only with those inventors that are employees, but also especially with those inventors that come from the outside of the university, or the inventors that are students or PhD students. Then we proceed with IP protection, and we cooperate with external patent attorneys. This is mainly due to the fact that, as you've seen on previous slides, the variety of topics of research at our university makes it hard to have one a patent attorney that will be an expert in all those fields. So we've got long-term agreements with external patent firms. Then, after securing the initial patent application filed, we during next 12 months before PCT application, we work hard to find a business partner, because the optimal situation is always if we find that partner before filing PCT application. Of course, it's not always the case. So when we find a business partner, we certainly use a lot of agreements, NDA or material transfer agreements. What's a very useful tool that we use is to perform some additional research, proof of concept research, or additional verification of market value of the invention. It makes the technology readiness level a bit higher, and it already makes it more attractive to potential business partners. Then, of course, we've got a long phase of negotiations and signing the license or assignment agreement, or creation of a spin-off company if the inventors have an entrepreneurial attitude. But it's seldom, of course, that situation happens maybe twice or 3 times a year. And then, of course, there is a project continuation, which doesn't mean an end of cooperation, because commercialization is not over, and it's usually more than a transaction. It's a long-term relation, because sometimes the agreement with the company includes scientific support or further contract research. Coming to the Jagiellonian University strategy regarding international patent applications. Well, we began with, usually we begin with Polish Patent Office, of course, but there are some exceptions where we have an invention together with a foreign institution. Then sometimes we directly go to another national office, or European Patent Office, or USPTO if it's an American institution, and that institution, that co-owner is a leader of the commercialization process. But the situation when we go directly to European Patent Office, of course, happens very rarely. In fact, out of 11 European Patent Office applications that we had in 2020, 8 were the result of the previous PCT applications. So when we decide to file a PCT application, first of all, when an internal assessment proves that invention has a sufficient commercial potential. Then the second case, if we have already a business partner, for example, if the invention is already subject of a license, and we have a request from a licensee or this business partner. And of course, in that situation, we have an agreement with this business partner that the costs of the protection are refunded by that partner. And the third situation, to be honest, sometimes when an invention is a result of a project, and indicators of this project require international patents, we file a PCT application to fulfill those requirements. Of course, the PCT application can be filed in different ways, and there are some advantages and disadvantages of each way of filing it. And we use all three of those ways, but looking at the numbers, I would say that in 2/3 of situation, we use Polish Patent Office or VPI, because of course the best costs, and when we're talking about Polish Patent Office, the possibility to have ESR done by EPO. Regarding some crucial points that I highlighted in red, we see some issue with I named it evaluation point. So each country has some scientific activity evaluation system, and in Poland it was put in place few years ago, recently, and unfortunately it says that to get points which are important for each research institution. So to get points for international patents, those international patents have to have a priority date, priority application in Poland. So that's an important advantage of using Polish Patent Office or VPI, that we don't have a problem with those evaluation points. There is also a small issue about refund from VPI that I wasn't aware before, but I asked our finance specialists if we have a joint patent, or if we're paying the fees from the projects. There is always a bit tricky and difficult to after this refund to make everything work in the project budget. So the next phase, the regional and national phase, is 30 months from the first patent application, and we like it to be done already by a business partner. So the ideal situation would be to have the invention sold or licensed before that. And usually the number of countries in which we appoint depends on the request of a business partner. And I would like to present you a short case study of one of our inventions which was commercialized, and it's actually planned to be launched on the market this year. It's a technology of biocompatible nanocapsules which enable effective encapsulation of hydrophobic compounds. It's an invention created by our chemistry department, and it consists of nanocapsules for delivery of compounds and method of their preparation. And those nanocapsules enable to close in them various substances like vitamins or nutrients. And it may be applied in many different sectors, in pharmacy, in medicine and dietary supplementation, cosmetics, and chemistry, biotechnology, and even agriculture. Such a wide spectrum of potential uses is possible because those capsules are easy to produce, universal, and resistant to changing environmental parameters, which gives them an advantage over many known nanostructural carriers of active substances. So, of course, we started with the research conducted by our scientists. It took over 5 years. Then in 2015, we filed a first patent application in Poland. A year later, we filed the PCT application, and we chose as an authority EPO. And in the same year, we received ESR with the opinion from European Patent Office. And we entered into discussion with European Patent Office because there were some doubts about the claims in this invention. In 2016, in the same year, we managed to find a licensee. In fact, we talked with 4 different companies. Then we signed the first license, non-exclusive license with CHDE company, a Polish company, which then wanted an exclusive license. Then in 2017, during further correspondence with European Patent Office, it resulted in amending some of the claims in the invention, and that led us to regional and national phases. And on that moment, although we were still an owner of the technology, the whole costs of IP protection were covered by us, by university, were then refunded by a company. So as you can see, the geographical coverage of the patent was quite wide. We choose, of course, Europe, US, Japan, but also 6 other countries. In 2018, we had the first patent granted, and in the same year, the same company that got a license came back to us to ask for an assignment of rights, which of course happened. Next 2 years were further development of the technology. What was also important for us, development also with our university scientists and using some university equipments and laboratories. And then next national patents were granted last year, and hopefully the first products will be on the market this year or the beginning of next year. So in this case, when we received the international search report from European Patent Office, we were able to correct some part of this patent, and that resulted that in the next phase we didn't have problems with receiving patents on regional and national level. And coming to end, I would like to conclude my presentation with some thoughts. So first of all, why international patents? Are they important? Well, of course, smart IP protection increases the chances of technology transfer, looking from the perspective of academia. That the patents are not old, and ensuring that they cover, for example, compound and manufacturing method and application of the invention. So the patent strength is really important. Patenting is also important to make sure that the results of the creative activity of our scientists are not emerging on the market without any of our control how this happens and who does it. So next thing, various industrial sectors have different approaches to enter the market. And especially in the sectors that need a lot of cost and time to introduce innovation to the market, perspective of monopoly provided by patents is extremely important. And actually many inventions, also those that literally save human lives, would probably never be commercialized by private companies if patent protection won't be in place. Next thing is market size, and it's important issue when considering international patent protection, because small and medium countries such as Czech Republic, Slovakia, Hungary, and Poland alone are in many cases too limited market for introducing new products based on invention. In addition to that, still our strength of our industry sector is sometimes not sufficient, and therefore the level of absorption of innovation from academia is limited. Sometimes we have to search for our business partners abroad. And last but not least, nearly all of our inventions created at academia have a really low technology readiness level, maybe 4, maybe 5. So having 30 months from the first patent application really makes a difference. And it makes a difference for the university to give a time to search for a business partner, but it also makes a difference for this business partner to conduct additional R&D to prepare to launch a product to the market. And of course, patent costs, the PCT system enables a delay of the major costs connected with national patents. That will be all from my side. Thank you very much for your attention. And once again, happy birthday to VPI. Thank you very much.